Good morning, this is Chris, and I wanted to give you guys a short explanation of how to do the 3-day diet analysis assignment. So on the D2L site, you can find the assignment instructions in several places. I'll take you to it via the Dropbox, and it's towards the bottom here. It's the 3-day diet analysis project. This is required for everyone. It is not one of the class activities, so everybody must complete this. So a couple things to remember. I am going to need your food list, which is also your meal summary, and the completed worksheet as one file. So you will need to be able to cut and paste everything into a Word or a PDF document. This assignment is due Tuesday, April 15th in the Dropbox, and again, it's as one attachment. So let's go ahead and look at the actual worksheet. And my advice to you is to download this worksheet on your desktop, and then once it's downloaded on your desktop, you need to save as so that you can bring it in and complete the assignment. So the first part of this assignment gives you instructions on how to use the Super Tracker, which is under the Choose My Plate website. And I believe many of you have already been familiar with that because you've been doing some of the class activities using that software. So I'm not going to go through this part, but one of the pieces that's important is not to put in vitamin and mineral supplements, because I want to get an analysis of your diet without supplements so that you can identify food sources of vitamins and minerals. So let's skip to the worksheet part. So within the worksheet, you're going to need to include 3 reports from NutriCalc: the meal summary, the food group and calories report, and the nutrients report. So you're going to need to cut and paste those right into this area. Okay? So this assignment is going to track what you eat over 3 days, and you're going to use Super Tracker to give an average of your intake over those 3 days, and then you're going to use that information to complete this worksheet. So the first thing you're going to start with is body mass index. So you're going to complete the information about your height and your weight and what is your body mass index. And again, all of this can be found on the Super Tracker. So let's go ahead and look at that Super Tracker reports now. So when you go to the choosemyplate.gov website, you're going to make sure you're going to use Super Tracker to enter the foods that you're eating. So again, you go to the and you'll need to set up a profile so that you can do that. So I'm going to log in so that it uses my information and my profile that I have set up. And then I'll click on Food Tracker, and this is where you enter your foods in here. Now I've already entered a day's worth of food so I could show you some of the reports. So once you enter your foods and you find the portions and things like that, you will get, you can go to this meal summary, and you'll have to put in the dates. So for you, I'm just going to pull up 1 day, but when you're doing the assignment, you're going to click the range of 3 days so that the computer program gives you the average of those. So this is my meal summary report for 1 day. So this is the first part that you would put into this document right here under meal summary. Okay. The other report that's going to be required is the nutrient report, and that's here. And again, you are going to put in a range of 3 days. For this example, I just used 1. And what the computer program will do is average your intake for those 3 days. So what this report shows is this shows the target. So this is what the software is saying that I need for what I entered as my height and my weight and my activity level. And then over here, this shows the average that I ate. So again, I only entered 1 day, but when you enter 3 days, it will average those 3 days to give you an average daily intake. Okay? So when we go back to the worksheet, that is the nutrients report. That will go here. And then I'll show you the food groups and calories report. And that can be found right here. And again, you put those 3 days in. And this is what the food groups and calories report. So you really just go through and cut and paste this information into the Word document. And then you'll be saving the Word document and submitting this. All right, so let's go down and look at some of the details that you'll need. So when you use the reports, you will find your body mass index is there, and then you'll need to discuss the calories that you ate versus the calories that you are that you consumed. So again, in the nutrients report is where you'll be getting most of this information, and I'll give you an idea for mine. And my advice to you guys is to print out the nutrients report, the meal summary, the food groups and calories, so that when you go to do your worksheet, you have all the information in front of you. So what I would put for those calories is my targeted caloric intake was 2,000, but for that day I ate 2246. So right here, this explains this. And then you'll go in and discuss that, and you would put in what your BMI is and how that eating that excess calories might affect your BMI. Then the next part is protein. So again, if you look at this nutrient report, we have protein right here. Protein in grams. This is what is required. This is what is required, or the targeted amount, and this is what I ate. So you would go back to this, and the 3-day average was my 88 grams, and the percent of calories was 16%. Does this fall into the correct percentage? Then when you want to find out what the foods were that had those protein, then you just click on the little plus right there. And it'll drop it down. So for that day, my food sources of protein, the 3 top ones were salmon, yogurt, and quinoa. So that's what I would put right in there. So if my food sources were salmon, yogurt, and quinoa, did most of my protein come from plant or animals? The answer would be animals, because both yogurt and salmon are animal sources. And then you would talk about nutrition-related advantage and disadvantage. And then if you felt like you needed to make some changes in your protein consumption, you would list 3 specific changes. And again, this needs to be specific, not I would eat more vegetarian sources of protein, but things like I would choose to have a quinoa salad for lunch instead of a turkey sandwich in order to increase my consumption of plant proteins. Okay, so moving on to the carbohydrate area, in the carbohydrate intake, the 3-day average percentage for carbohydrate intake, again, would be found on your nutrient report. So if you look at carbohydrate, the 3-day average was 273 grams, and I had 49% of my calories. So again, remember that this target is the minimum amount, and this range is where I want to be. So my range is good in there. So I did a good job in my carbohydrate intake. When it comes down to sugar, you need to actually use a different report, unfortunately, because the Super Tracker lists the sugar in food groups and calories. So if you go to the food groups and calories report, you will go down to the bottom, and it'll tell you how many calories you ate from sugar, and then you'll just need to do a little math. So that day, I ate 40 calories from sugar. And if you click this open, it will show you where I got my sugar from, which I'm assuming is probably the dark chocolate that I ate right there. Okay, so again, back to the worksheet. When I had 40 calories from sugar, that then leads to 10 grams of sugar. And you should discuss if that meets the guidelines for how much sugar we should eat. Then moving on, we're going to talk about fiber. And you're going to list how does your fiber intake compare to the recommended amounts, and then 3 foods that have fiber. And once again, when you're on the nutrients report, you would click on fiber to find that drop-down menu. All right, so moving on, we'll do fat and cholesterol, and it's the same process. Using that nutrients report sheet to complete this, we're going to look at linoleic acid and alpha-linolenic acid, and then a little discussion about any changes you might need to make. Then sodium, you're going to discuss sodium intake right in this area. And then you're going to complete this table for the vitamins and minerals. And again, this is based on the nutrients report. And if you see in this nutrients report, the vitamins and minerals are listed here. So I want to know the average that you ate and what the status was. So the average that you ate and then what your status was. And again, to find out what foods you ate, so what foods did I eat that had vitamin A in them, you're going to list your top 3 sources. Mine were carrots, spinach, and lettuce. So that's that section. And then for any that come out here as under, I want you to talk about what you would do, foods that you would add to your diet to increase those. So if we go back to mine, I was under in vitamin D, which is a hard one to do because most of the vitamin D we get is from sun. So when I look at mine, I go, okay, my salmon and my brown rice. It doesn't actually calculate, I didn't drink any milk that day. So that might be a good suggestion for me to put that I could increase my milk consumption by having a glass of milk at breakfast. And we need to have 3 foods, so I could say milk, yogurt, cheese. And then the last part is a 200-word kind of summary, at least a minimum of 200 words, that talks about your BMI, how many calories you consumed, your protein intake, your carbohydrate intake, your sugar, your fat, your fiber, your vitamin and mineral intake, and really discuss those. And then the very last piece, I'm going to have you give 3 specific and measurable changes you intend to make in your diet. So for example, I could put, I would add a glass of milk at my breakfast every morning. That would be a good example. So I hope this is helpful for you. I want to highlight a couple areas that people tend to miss on. They tend to miss when people don't list specific foods. They put fruits and veggies. I want to know which fruits and which veggies. People tend to miss points on not addressing all of these issues. And lastly, I think people tend to miss points on just forgetting to complete portions of the worksheet. And then probably the last piece is they don't add their reports in here. So again, there's my food group and calories report. And if I want my nutrients report, I come back up here. And I would probably collapse all these before I copy it and pasted it. But you can add this right into, and what I do here is I'm just Control C, and then I'm taking it to my Word document and Control V to put it in there. Okay? So I hope this is helpful. Feel free to email me if you have questions about how to complete this. And then I also have in the discussions area a little discussions board. If people have questions about how to complete the assignment, you can answer each other's questions and I'll be checking on that. Let me know if you have any other questions. Again, this is due on Tuesday, April 15th. It's due as 1 document submitted in the Dropbox. Thank you.